Sean Strickland, he's fighting in 2 weeks. Probably by the time this comes out, he's fighting already. Dude's interesting because I think in the past couple months, he's blown up more and more. I'm not sure how much you know about him, but
he just became champion, right?
He beat Israel Adesanya in one of the most massive upsets of all MMA history. It's like one of the most massive ones because Adesanya is a champion. This wasn't really a hyped up fight. They just assumed Adesanya was going to walk through him because Strickland wasn't like all that. And Strickland, he had an interesting style. Adesanya had an off day, and 5 rounds just dominated Israel Adesanya. So he became the champion. But he has an interesting story. So he came from an abusive childhood. He was his father used to beat him and his mother. So that's kind of like part of his character development. Right. And like as he gets older, more famous, you start to see it unfold. And they were at a press conference, and the dude's he's like a kind of like redneck, white trash, like he just likes to talk shit. Right. He's one of those guys, you know. So he's talking shit to this guy. I guess the other guy, his coach kissed him. So he's like calling him a fag on like TV. Like he doesn't care at all. He's one of those guys, no filter. Yeah. So the other guy kind of stoops there too. He's like, because he was saying, oh, like your coach fucks you. Like he was just, but then the other guy says, oh, you think your dad beat the shit out of you? Imagine what I would do. Your dad doesn't have shit on me.
And this is when they had the altercation wow.
Well, no. So so he said that at the press conference.
Right.
And he goes, it's gonna bring back all the memories of like your childhood when you're in bed and your dad walks in the room and beats the shit out of you. Like I'm gonna do that to you. Right. And you see Strickland, he's visibly shook. Right. The next week they sit him down at a UFC fight. And they're sitting, for some reason, I don't know why they put them next to each other, and they just fucking start fighting.
Yeah. I remember I saw the clip where they were maybe 2 rows apart. Yeah. And then Strickland had turned around and he saw the dude was talking. So he like asked the kids to move out of the way and then leaped over the row. I remember seeing that clip. I didn't know that was the other the fighter. That's interesting. And isn't it interesting that most, greatness, like you talk about world champions across all sports, they always have a very traumatic childhood.
Right. Well, so I think Sean Strickland's a great example of someone that channels that, because those people that like that get beat up by their father, get abused, they get the shit kicked out of them by their father, they become like angry individuals. Like he could have easily been like a rapist, fucking like
he could have been
serial killer. Yep. But instead, he channeled all of that anger and pain into like violence, which is UFC, and he says it all the time too. Like there was a podcast he did with Theo Von. And it's wild because like it's crazy to see this tough, like just like MMA masculine guy. So he broke down into tears on this podcast. And I guess the thing was like, like when I was a kid, I would go to school, but I'd be tired because I would be up till like 3 or 4 a.m. and my dad would be yelling, saying he's gonna kill my mom, saying he's gonna kill me. And he would go to school the next day and fall asleep on his desk, and the teachers would like be like, you're such a bad kid. Not knowing that he was getting like abused until 4 a.m. So he just starts breaking down into tears on this podcast. It's super awkward. I'll show you after this, but like, it's one of those most awkward situations, and you could tell like the pain is real. Right.
Dennis Rodman had a moment like that on the Breakfast Club a few years back when they were talking about like he was talking about his upbringing and everything, and then I think Charlemagne had asked him about his father, and he was like, I've moved past it or whatever, and he's like sniffling and starts crying and everything. It's like, no, you still have this trauma, but it took that trauma to create the madness in your mind to go and channel it and become one of the greatest, athletes that's out there. And I think, and it's funny, I saw this trending on socials where they were like, nobody who's in the GOAT conversation of any sport came up with like just the most happy-go-lucky. Like you needed some form of adversity. Like Brady had a great, his parents were cool with it, but he was cut
came from the league.
From the league. Like you're just on the bench. You're riding the pine. You have to go through something to get somewhere. Right. And I think with Strickland, with him having all of that like unhealed trauma, but still finding a way to bottle that up and put it towards something else that's positive. Because I remember Deontay Wilder, like recently, he's completely changed. Where in the beginning it was just ruthless type of dude. He was like, this is a sport where you can legally kill somebody, so why not use the right to do so, right? And then he laid out Basile, he done laid out Stavern, and then he was just beating everybody, then ran into Fury, but the flip side now that he has a family and everything, because I remember he was breaking down crying after another boxer, like he was damn near like paralyzed per se, and he was losing his mind because he was there like, yo, this man, he's got a family, he's got a wife, and look at him now.
I think what happened is this: he ran to Fury, like he was on a high.
And he got humbled.
He ran to Fury, he got humbled, but not only that, he made a big fucking bag from those Fury fights. So the same thing, like it's hard to go run at 5 a.m. when you're waking up in silk sheets. You got this big bag. You know you're not invincible because the guy slept you twice, right? He just lost the fight recently.
Yeah, recently he lost the fight.
And he started talking like, you know, I've been smart with my investments. I'm smart. The second the dude's like, I've been smart with my money. You're on the way out.
You're on the way out. You're on the way out. Yeah.
He lost that dog in him because it's like the dog has been tamed. He's been domesticated by money, by wealth, by fame. He don't need a fight to feed his daughter anymore. Before it was like he was fighting to feed his daughter, but now it's like, fuck, man, my daughter has everything she needs. So that fire kind of goes away.
Yeah, but then back with Strickland. So you said he was on this podcast with Theo Vaughn. He's crying and everything.
He just break. It was super awkward because like you could tell he's trying to hold it back. He's like, fuck, man, and like his water's flying. He's like put his water ball down and starts flying everywhere. And Theo Vaughn's funny, so he goes like he says some rhymes like, you know where animals pee and it could attract other animals. Like he said something weird like that.
Yeah.
And literally, sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn's hilarious, dude.
And Strickland just like, he's like, and like he just can't like keep up with it. And then he just starts crying for like 6 minutes straight, bro.
Wow.
It's wild. He starts talking about like trauma and like he's like doing this. It's crazy. To see that guy, who's supposed to be like a tough guy, kicks the shit out of everyone, crying, it shows you that like, damn, he's carrying some heavy shit.
Yeah, like Mike Tyson, he had that on his podcast too when he talks about a bunch of stuff. And I remember when he talked about his daughter who had passed away because she was on the I believe on the treadmill, and then she had passed away. And this dude's like this vicious, individual. He could talk about like what it took in the upbringing to get to where it's at, and you see him like squirm into like this damn pea. You're like a bean at that point, and still you carry all of that while going into fights and all this other stuff. It's wild.
I think healing, in a weird way, healing fucks up your greatness in a way.